Hi from Yoga and Pilates Place, it's Megan for Yoga Flow Alignment. Wee bit of housekeeping for you before you start. So for this class today, you will need a few things. Take a couple of minutes to gather them together. If you have got yoga bricks, I've got some here. Get 2 yoga bricks if you've got them. You'll need 2 straps. So either you have 2 yoga straps like this. If you don't have yoga straps, go get yourself a couple of ties or handhills. Handhills will do fine as well. So make sure you've got those. You will also need a couple of blankets or 1 blanket to sit on. If you have some pillows or cushions, grab a couple of them for comfort. We've got yoga bolsters here, but a cushion will do perfectly well. If you've got a memory foam pillow, that would be great too. If you are a wee bit stiff through the legs or the back and you don't have these props, I have got a couple of other things you can use. We've taken the stool, which you can use, and you can use this to place your hands on. So for example, if you're doing a forward fold, you could have your hands here. If you don't have a stool, grab yourself a chair. And this will be as good again. People with stiff hamstrings can use a chair. Okay, so give yourself a couple of minutes, go and grab those things, and I'll see you straight back here. So for everyone that's there, once you've gathered all your equipment, come and join me and take a seat on your mat. Bend your knees under you, feet under you, and use your feet to rest your knees on. And then from here, take your hands behind you and sit up tall, and we'll just wait until everybody's here, hopefully. I can see everybody ready to go. Good, okay. So, take your hands to the center of your chest. Something that really hit home for me yesterday was fear and fatigue stop us from doing things. And this last week has been a fearful week. And I've noticed that not only has my yoga practice become less important than finding shopping, but also I'm not breathing deeply and well. So our immune systems really rely on us being able to breathe fully and properly. So if anything today, if I could just encourage you to take a moment and remind yourself to focus on the breath. So just with your hands, thumbs at the center of your chest, your thymus gland is right here, and that's one of the main lymph glands for your immune system. So if you press your thumbs in there, and as you breathe in, feel your thumbs connect with that part of your immune system. And for those of you at home who feel comfortable doing so, I'm going to encourage you to join me with Om. People feel a wee bit uncomfortable with the sound Om because it's a chant. But the sound Om is also a way to use the vibrations of our breath to help our body move differently and heal better. So if you don't feel comfortable with the chant of Om, you can simply breathe in and a loud exhale through the mouth. Otherwise, take a deep breath in. Just let your eyelids flutter open. Welcome to your practice. From this position seated, take one leg at a time out in front of you. We're going to sit in Dandasana. So if I turn to the side, you'll be able to see the position of my spine a bit more easily. Make sure you're on a raise. something that will help you lift your lower back up in space. And take your hands behind you. Press your fingers down into the mat to lift your chest up to your throat and your chin. Take a sniff of air here and press the backs of your heels down into the mat, the backs of your legs down into the mat, and grow a little taller. Stay seated in this position, Dandasana. Now turn your fingers forwards. And again, look forward rather than down, and feel the lift of the chest help you breathe more easily. Breathe in and exhale, keeping that lift in the chest. Inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths at your own pace. Pressing the legs down. From here, I'm going to move into another pose called Baddha Konasana. So I'm going to come around and face you again. So for this pose, let the legs completely relax. Give them a shake out. And then bend up one leg at a time until you're sitting in this butterfly shape with the soles of the feet together. Take a hold of your ankles and bring your feet a little bit closer to you. Press your feet down into the ground, and as you press your feet down into the ground, you should feel your chest lift up a little bit more. Breathe in here, and lift your chest up a little higher. If you feel comfortable here and you're not too high up in your raise, you can take hands underneath your feet, lift your feet off the ground, and you'll feel this start to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. So some of that stress and tension of the last week can start to melt away. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, from here, press your legs back together again and bring your legs back out in front of you. So we're back in Dandasana again. Now for the next posture, you're going to need to have your straps handy. So grab yourself your towels, or ties, or your yoga straps. Incidentally, if you're looking for straps, we have got some Scottish companies that will be able to supply you. So if you're going to be here for the long haul with us, really good idea to get some props. Anyway, from here, the next pose is Upavishta Konasana, which is wide-legged pose. We're going to take one leg out wide to the side, and then the other leg. Remember which leg you took out first. Take your hands behind you again, lift your chest up, and press your feet down into the ground. Keep pressing your feet down into the ground as you lift your chest higher. Pull your pinky toe towards you and now have a look down at your knees. There's going to be a tendency for the toes to roll back or forward. So point your toes straight up to the ceiling, point your knees up to the ceiling. And then once you've done that, lift the chest again. Breathing in and out. And a little smile, I'm trying to remember to do that. Take off my yoga serious face. And then from here, bring your legs back together again. Remember which leg you brought in first and back first. Take your straps, or your towel, or your ties, and pop them over the ball of the foot. And now here you've got a little lever to take your legs wide again. So remembering which leg you took out first, take one leg out, take the other leg out. Now walk your hands down the strap so that you can sit upright with your arms straight. Again, point your knees towards the ceiling and press the middle of your heel down into the mat. Lift your chest up. Smile. And then from here, start to turn your arms so that the eye of your elbow, the middle of the elbow, is pointing up to the ceiling. And this should help you open up the chest just a little bit more. And then expand your lungs. Really fill your lungs full of air. These poses are so good for opening up the rib cage and lifting the spine. Okay, and then release that out. If you have got the ability to grab your toes, we'll do that next. So taking the strap off, if you could reach your feet, if you needed the strap, put it back on again. If you can reach your toes now, you reach your toes and you make a pistol shape with your fingers, grab your big toes and wrap your thumb round and lift up. So this is not about going down to the ground at this stage, but about lifting up. So keep the chin lifted, the chest lifted, smile and wave at me. and then bring your hands in front of you, and then bring your legs back together. How are we all doing? Next pose is a pose called Virasana. Now, I'm going to show you how to get into this because it's quite a good one to sit in, especially if you're in the house and you're doing a lot of stuff. We're in a weird place now where we're going to spend more time seated, less time moving. So this is a really good time to start practicing this pose because it's a challenge for most of us that spend our lives in seats. So the classic pose is with your feet wide and your bottom between your feet. So kids can sit like this with the knees together and the feet wide and the bottom on the ground. I really struggle with this because of my knee. So I'm going to show you some options for those of you that have difficulty getting your bum to the ground. So option number one, I'll turn my back to you. You're going to see my worst view now. Take your bottom down onto your heels. And then from here, aim your spine up above your pelvis, so you're sitting up as tall as you can. Now, here you can start to take the feet a little bit wider so that you're still resting your pelvis on your heels, and eventually you'll be able to bring the bottom down to the ground. If you're like me and you struggle with that, here's your next option. I'm not going to do that with my bum facing the camera. It's a bit unfortunate. This is the next thing you'll do. You make sure you have a raise behind you. You might need a brick. You might already know what raise you need. I know I need a couple of blankets. From here, you're going to bring the crown of the head to the ground and your knees together. With your knees together and your heels wide, take your hands behind your knees. So I've got my pointer finger in behind my knees, and then from there you can flatten your calves out and sit back so your bottom comes to the edge of your raise. And once you're here, pause for a moment, press the front of your knees down and press your feet into the ground. If you look down at your toes, you might see that your pinky toe is popping off the ground. So press your pinky toe down into the ground with the heel of your hands and pause and sit here. So this is a pose that will become easier in time. And if we're going to be practicing every day, which I hope you will now that you have these videos, each day you might find that it becomes a little bit easier. Knees apart, hands quite far ahead of you, and press your hands down into the mat. Push forward, lift your knees off the ground, and press yourself back into downward dog. So ideally one day our heels get to the ground. I'm not quite there yet, you might be. You're aiming to get your head to come up and curl in and look at your belly button and heels flat to the mat. And then from here, walk your hands back towards your feet and bring your hands to your waist and bring yourself up. So for the next segment, grab yourself either your bricks or your chair or your stool. And you're going to place these in front of you about a foot length away, and bring your hands onto your waist. And keep your chin lifted, bend forward, straight back, and place your hands onto the bricks so that they're right under your shoulders. And then from here, push your heels down, bring your chin forward, look up. And then you can start to bring the bricks down a little bit lower. If you don't have bricks and you don't have a chair, you can also bring your hands onto your thighs or your shins. Again, a couple of breaths here. Bring your weight forward a little bit so you're right in the middle of the arch of the foot, and then bring your bricks a little bit lower down. Keep this process going until you got your hands flat in the mat. And once your hands are flat in the mat, you can start to walk your hands back towards your toes, and then bring your head down to the ground. And you can look back towards your knees and make sure they're pointing forward. Then start to look forward. Bring your hands onto your waist. Bring yourself back up. So we're going to add a couple of these in just with a little bit of flow. So starting with your hands at the center of your heart, thumbs where they were at the start of class, and bring your feet together. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift your arms up and fold forward. bringing your fingertips either to your bricks or to the mat, and then start to walk your hands back. Exhale. Inhale, look up, hands to your waist, bring yourself back up, hands to the center of your heart. So just flowing for 4 of these, magic number 4. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to bricks to the floor. Walk your hands back to your feet. Exhale. Look at your knees, make sure they're pointing straight forward. Squeeze your kneecaps up. Look up, hands to your waist, bring yourself back up. Hands back to namaste. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Look up, hands come back. Inhale, look up, hands to the waist, all the way back up again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring your arms back. Exhale. Inhale, look forward. Hands to waist. Exhale, come up. Last one. Hands to heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, come all the way up to standing. Hands to the center of your heart. Okay, so we're going to add on to this. So that was your half sun salutation. We're going to go into a full sun salutation from here. So it's going to look like this. Arms come up, forward fold. Now your hands come to the floor, and then you're going to step first the left leg, then the right leg back, downward dog. Sniff of air here. Look forward, lift your right leg up. Right leg comes to your chest, right leg comes through, and step your left leg through. Forward fold, look up, bring yourself all the way back up to standing. Sun salutation A, we're going to do 4. So moving with me, feet at the front of the mat, hands to namaste. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, right leg back, left leg back. Downward dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Press the heels down to the mat. Lift the toes off the mat so you can bring your heels down. Look forward. This time, left leg lifts. Bend the left leg to your chest. Bring it through. And right leg through. Forward fold. Hands to your waist. Inhale, come up. Hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale this time, right leg back, left leg back. Downward dog. 3 breaths here. In through the nose. Out through the nose. Stretch your spine. Stretch the back of your legs by opening up the back of the knees. Look forward, right leg up, right leg forward, left leg forward, and fold. Inhale, look up, and bring yourself up. Now, for some of you, you're probably used to jumping back, and if you do that, you can jump. So I'll show you that for this next variation. Inhale, arms up, hands to chest. Lift up, come forward, fold. And this time you can jump back. Please don't jump if you've got bad knees, a bad back, or you're pregnant, or if you're menstruating. And then look forward, and again, you can either step or you can jump to the front of the mat and bring yourself all the way up. Okay, so one more of either variation, either stepping back or jumping back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step or jump back. Downward dog. Inhale. Full exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Look forward. One leg at a time. Step or jump. Back to your forward fold. Hands to your waist. come all the way up to standing. So we've managed to get some of the lymph flowing. We're going to move from this into some standing poses, some of the ones that you are all used to doing with Ali. So we're going to start off with a standing pose called Trikonasana, or triangle pose. For this, you're going to need your strap. And if you don't have a strap, you're going to stand on the end of your towel. But if you have a strap, get your buckle and place the buckle underneath the foot. And then you're going to pull the strap till it's taut. And then get the strap so it's up just above where that indentation is your hip. So for those of you that know where your greater trochanter bone is, the top of your femur bone, I think Sarah, you definitely know that, it's just above there. So that's what I would call a leg length now. And you'll fold your strap over so you now know what your leg length is. And for me, it's basically I've doubled the strap. You place the strap then onto your mat, and then we're going to step your feet at the width of that strap, so legs width apart. So have your toes parallel with the strap, take your hands onto your waist, and then step 1 foot at a time so that your feet are on the outside edge of the strap. And now you know that your legs width away. So here, press the feet down and take the arms out wide to the side. Turn the arms up and turn the arms down. Keep breathing as you turn the arms. Now, have the arms up as palms facing the ceiling and lift the arms up to the ears. Turn the hands, bring the arms down. Palms up, inhale, lift. Exhale, press the arms down. One more. Inhale, lift, and exhale down. This time with the palms facing down, we're going to practice turning the feet. So I'm mirroring you, so this hand here is going to be my right hand, I think. So you're going to turn your right toes out and your left toes slightly in. And then turn your belly button to face me and the camera again. Turn your feet, and we'll do the same to the other side. This time turn your left toes out, turn your right toes in. And then swap. So you get used to turning the feet without turning the spine. Turn the feet one more time. And now from here, take your left hand to your waist and your right hand to your hip. And what you're going to do is fold at the hip until you come into a side bend. Check that your head is over your toe. And turn your belly button to face me so your bottom ribs start to spiral up to the ceiling. Come back up and stand. Turn the toes. Take your toes now to the opposite side. And again, you've got your hand on your hip, one hand on your hip, one hand on the top hip, and take that side bend. Start to turn your bottom ribs, your left ribs, up towards your top ribs, and then come back up again. Turn your toes in. Take your arms wide again, turn your right toes to the right, left toes in slightly, and then from here, take your left hand and place it on your hip. Reach forwards with your right arm and bring your right hand to your shin. Now start to use your left hand to lift your hip up to the ceiling, look up to the ceiling, spiral, and then come back up, turn your toes, lift your arms. Turn your toes to the left. Take your right hand to your hip and keep reaching out. Reach out, reach out, reach out, and take your hand to your shin. Again, use your right hand to turn your hip so it faces me, and then turn your bottom ribs so that they start to come up towards the top ribs, and then you can look up to the ceiling, press your feet down into the mat, use the top arm to bring you up, come back to standing. Turn your toes. So we're going to take this into a pose called Trikonasana, triangle pose. So turning your toes now towards the right. Keep your chest facing me, spine facing me. Press down really firmly into your left outside foot. And then from here, reach out with the right arm, bring your hand to your shin. Take the top arm up to the ceiling, and then turn and look at the top hand. Look down, make sure your head's in line with your foot. Look back up again. And use the top arm to lift you and feel as if you're reaching for someone up there and they're helping you up. pulling you up to the ceiling. They keep pulling you up to bring you back to the center. Turn your toes. Turn the toes, turn to the left. And then again, put a lot of weight into the right outside foot and start to reach out towards your left. Hand down, hand up. And again, get that lift in the chest by feeling as if somebody's tugging your fingers up to the ceiling. Use that feeling to lift you back up and turn the toes. From here, bring your hands back to your waist and step in and just come and stand in Tadasana on your mat. The next pose is going to be Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. We're going to take this from the same leg distance as for triangle pose. So stepping your feet wide again. And then maybe move the feet out just a couple of inches or so. Point your knees towards me, point your toes towards me. From here, start to turn your right toes out. And we're going to start to bend that right leg, but put more weight into the left leg. And then come back up again. We'll repeat this a couple of times. So it feels as if you're trying to slide your left heel further away from you. And that helps you sit down deeper into this right angle of the right leg. So again, coming down, pressing into the outside edge of your left foot and back up. And then come down and stay there just for a moment. Take your right forearm and place it onto your right thigh. And then just stay here as you turn your chest towards me, turn your chest towards the ceiling, look up to the ceiling, put a bit more weight into that left outside foot, and just stay here and breathe. Now you can stay here if you like, or you can take your right hand, slide it down your right shin, and again, face me here. There's an option here to lift the top arm. There's also an option to turn the top arm and bring the bicep over your ear and look up into Parsvakonasana. To bring yourself back up, use your left arm to pull you up and come back to face me in the center. Take your hands to your waist, just pause for a moment and breathe. Let your breath return to normal. Fill up your lungs with your breath. And then turn your left toes out. Put more weight into your opposite outside foot. And then start to bend the knee again. So what a lot of people find is when they move into this bent leg position, there's more weight in this front leg than there is in the back leg. So it's a kind of tug of war going on between the legs. You're pushing your right foot down and slightly to the right, and your left heel digs down into the mat. I'll do this one more time. And if you can't see yourself, have a look down and just make sure that your knee is aiming towards the toes. It tends to kind of go in a little bit this way or that way, so make sure it's pointing straight over the middle of the toes. And then bring your left forearm to your thigh. Put as much weight as you can into that outside right foot. And then, if it's going well, you can stay here, or you slide your hand down, open your chest up, lift the top arm up, and then possibly turn that arm and look up to the ceiling. Use the top arm to pull you up and come back to the center. Walk the feet together. Okay, so we're going to add those poses together just for a flow, 2 sides, 2 rounds each side, just so you get into the habit of finding these ways to move in the morning and get your muscles working, get your breath working. So I'm back on my raise here. I've got 2 blankets, one on top of the other. And what I'm going to do is come into a couple of seated forward extensions or forward bends. So starting off with your bottom on the raise. If you need a slightly higher raise, take it. I find just a little bit of a raise works for me. If you need to sit in a brick, that's fine too. So you're going to take your strap But first of all, make sure that your legs are straight, and when you look down at your knees are pointing straight up to the ceiling and your heels are pressing straight into the mat. Take your arms in front of you and hold your strap at shoulder distance apart and lift your arms up. Now, as you lift your arms up, feel how that helps you open up your armpits, and that's going to help you open up your lungs and breathe a bit better. Press your feet down, take your arms forward and hook your feet with the strap. Pull back on the strap with your arms, have your arms straight, and lift your chest up. So it's almost like I'm making an A shape here, the little bar's missing, but it's an A shape with the body. Now keep that lift, and if you can keep the chest lifted, so not collapsing like this, keep the chest lifted, walk your hands to your feet. Again, press the legs down, lift the chest up, and breathe. Now, if you're almost at your feet, you can keep walking your hands forward on your strap, again, without collapsing, because that'll hurt your back. So keep the chest lifted. And then you can hook your big toes with your first two fingers and your thumb and pull back. Press the feet down. If you've managed to do that without your hamstrings screaming at you, you can then take your hands and wrap them around the outside edge of your feet. And really, with all of these poses, what we're hoping to do is to calm the breath. So if you get here and you feel like you're panting or you can't breathe properly, come back up again. I think the thing that I've learned about yoga is that breath is where it's at. If we're not breathing, we're not doing yoga or even living particularly fully. So take that time, press the backs of the legs down, lift the chest. And if you are comfortable here, you can start to bring your chest further forward. So again, I'm not dropping, I'm not crushing the lungs, I'm bringing the spine forward. And then in time, as your spine gets longer, you can then start to lift the elbows, pull your collarbones forward even more, using your arms to help you. If you do want to bring your head down at this stage, take a brick or a blanket and you can place this between your shins at whatever height works for you and let your head rest down. It's a very good opportunity for you to drain sinuses out. Bend the elbows, lift them up, press the heels down. And as you do this, you'll notice that one side of your ribs is not expanding as well as the others. So just direct your breath towards both ribs equally. And then if you're there and things are going well, you can start to bring your chin forward, maybe resting your chin on the brick. Maybe if you're very open, resting your chin on your shins. Then lift up, bring yourself back to seated. We're getting ready to come down to an inversion. Inversions are great for the nervous system. They're really good for the immune system as well. So we're going to do a form of bridge pose, supported on the bricks, set to Bandha Sharvangasana. So it's also a bit of a shoulder stand as well. If you've got glasses like I have, I really recommend you take them off. And you're going to use one of your blankets as a support for your shoulders. If you've got very tight neck, you can use two. I'm going to use one right here. And when I roll down, I'm going to aim to have my shoulders just on this raise. So just probably best to watch this before you move into it. And then I'll be there to answer any questions as you go into the pose. So having your brick next to you, take your feet to the end of your mat, and just to protect your spine, have your hands next to you so that when you roll down onto your back, you don't wrench your back. Once you're lying flat in the mat, adjust your raise so you have your blanket just at the shoulder blade tips, and then have your brick. Walk your feet in a little bit closer to you. If you have glasses, take them off. And then from here,
have your brick just next to you. Walk your feet a little bit closer to your sit bones. Take your fingertips to the mat and press your fingertips down to lift yourself up into a bridge position. And now from here, walk your hands to your ankle bones. You might have to walk the feet in a little bit closer. If you can't grab your ankles, place the back of the hands onto the floor, press the heels down into the hands, and lift your chest towards your chin. Face is relaxed. The inversions are absolutely fantastic for the immune system. So from here, you're then going to lift and place yourself onto a brick. It can be at the high setting like this, or it can be at a lower setting. But whatever you choose, you're going to stay here for around about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer on. I'm going to check that you're all safe with this. So I'm going to come up and have a wee look and see if there are any comments. And then I will deal with those before we move on. Okay. So where are we at? Oh, video's gone now. All right, hang on. We are still going. Yeah. I don't know if people are actually saying that they're, I don't know if they're still here or not. Oh, yeah, they're all right. Okay, good. Right, that's fantastic. Right, folks, so setting yourself up now, make sure you've got your brick. So there's two possible settings. I call this daddy brick because it's the big one. And then you've got mummy brick, and then the smallest setting's baby brick. So have it next to you. I'm glad Sarah Jane's here. We're definitely here. So you've got you have your blanket, and you're going to place the blanket down on the mat, and have your brick handy. And then, as I showed, take your feet to the front of the mat, and hands either side of your waist, and slowly, 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 slowly bring yourself down to the ground. Once you're there, make sure that your blanket touches your shoulder blades so that you've got your neck supported, and then walk your feet a little bit closer towards your sit bones. Walk them in as close as you can get. Take your knees together a little bit and your feet slightly wider than your hips so that you've got, a kind of A shape with your thighs. And then I'm going to take the glasses off again here. To get yourself onto your raise, the first thing you're going to do is come into a pose called Chatuspadasana. Lift the bottom off the ground, press your hands into the ground. If you can reach your heels, you can place your heels on your hands. Press the back of the palms down into the mat. If you can get your hands around the outside of your ankles, still with the heels down, you can do that. I'm going to stay here. You hold this for a couple of breaths and to lift the chest up. And really what you're doing is using the legs to help you lift your bottom. Once you've been there for 3 or 4 breaths, take your brick. You can come up onto your tippy toes and then place the brick fairly close to your tailbone. You can have the brick so that it's slightly long ways so that you've got this end from your sacrum to your tail. You'll know if it's in the right place because it won't feel comfortable if you're in the wrong place. And then from here, hands come either side, or you can interlace the fingers behind the brick. And you're just going to stay here and breathe. So something that again, tends to become apparent when we're fearful is our chest closes up. As a lot of you know, I'm trained in Iyengar yoga. I'm not certified yet, but I'm trained in Iyengar yoga. And BKS Iyengar, who was the founder of Iyengar yoga, was born in 1918. And his mother suffered from the Spanish flu while she was pregnant with him. And of course, as many of you know, the Spanish flu killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. It was a horrible disease. It's the last great pandemic, and it was 100 years ago, just over 100 years ago. So we're facing something similar now, but the difference is that we have all these tools at our disposal. We have the internet, we have yoga that we can share with each other, and it's a big gift. So even with the little bits of awkwardness with transmission, I hope you are enjoying this, and I hope you feel connected. And please reach out, let me know, and let the SJ know what you need, and we'll create classes for you. Continue to rest. Allow yourself to drop to the mat. To come out of this pose, do it gradually. So lifting your heels, lifting your bottom. Take your block down to the next setting and rest your pelvis on it. And a couple of breaths there. And then take it down another notch. If you're up at the high setting, you'll be on the lowest notch, baby brick now. And then take your brick away. Bring your knees together. Bring your feet as wide as the mat. And then pausing for a moment. If you have got a jumper, we'll get that in a minute, but just letting that pose settle into your body. Knees together, sacrum widen. You might have to lift your bottom and just let your lower back lengthen a little bit, tucking your tail towards the back of your knees. Do this a couple of times so that you feel your lower back flat on the mat. And then simply breathe in and out. And then from here, we're going to move to Shavasana. So if you do want to go and grab yourself either a blanket or an eye mask or a bolster or cushion for behind the knees. Otherwise, start to prepare yourself by going inwards. You're not closing your eyes yet, but let the upper eyelids move towards the lower eyelids. And then lift your bottom up and scoop your bottom flesh away from your waist so that you feel more of your lower back on the mat. Keep all of that still and quiet. Pick up your right and stretch your right foot away from you through space. Reach it through space to the opposite end of the mat and then slowly let it drop down to the floor. Do the same to the other side. So again, lifting the left foot, taking the left foot away from you. And then you can reach for whatever eye mask you want to place over your eyes. Otherwise, let your eyelids close. And slowly bring attention to any tension on your body. If you find it difficult to settle, you can keep your hands on your torso. Otherwise, give yourself some space. Reach the arms out wide on the mat next to you and press the middle knuckle down. Let your breath fill up your chest. And feel for a moment the connection of your body against the mat. Visualizing your belly rising and falling. And then remembering that the breath is like leaves. Hear them rustling as you breathe in and out. Spring is coming. The trees are going to start to burst into bloom very soon. Breathe life into that notion that spring is coming. And as you do that, allow your breath to fill spring air, clean, fresh spring air. And as you bring attention to your breath, simply notice it. The length of the inhale, the length of the exhale. And you're very welcome to stay as long as you like. You can pause this video if you're at home and watching it in the not live version. For those of you that are in the live version, you can still stay and pause and rest. This is the most important part of the practice. But for those of you that do need to get on with the day, bend your knees up one at a time. Again, bring your knees a little bit closer together. And bring your hands to rest on your torso. You can let your eyes softly open, but reluctantly, so there's just a little bit of light getting in. And then sway your knees from side to side until your knees come and rest on the right side of your mat. And roll yourself over and rest your ear on your bottom arm. From here, bring yourself up. Do this slowly. Wake yourself up peacefully and calmly. Turn your chest to the mat. Use your arms to help you push yourself up to seated. It always feels a little bit awkward coming back out of Shavasana. So it's important to take a moment and pause where you are and feel the space in your spine. To ground you, press your hands into your knees and move your arms backwards. To open yourself up to possibilities. Change brings possibilities as well as uncertainty. Thank you all very much for your patience today and for your support of all of us as teachers and of Sarah Jane and this wonderful studio and the amazing community that we've built here. May that community continue to grow and we'll help each other through this. Namaste.